Let's say it gets so hot next week that someone ends up in the hospital.
Hey everyone, I'm Lindsay Miller from Pop Sugar, and I'm here today with Grant Show, who is playing Spence on Devious, Maids. And things have gotten a little bit interesting for your character over the last few episodes.
Yeah, well, he's finally realizing that his wife is not really going to help him out at all, and
Yes,
he's fallen in love with someone else.
he is.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of curious to know how things are going to play out between Spence and Rosie, because he was kind of committed to staying in the marriage for the kid. But now that he knows that she's been cheating on him, are things going to change?
Well, last night, his name's not Spence anymore, I don't think. If you follow on Twitter now, it's Mr. Spence.
Mr. Spence. I love
think
that she
from
still
now
calls
on,
him that.
It's Mr. Spence.
They're
yeah.
in this romantic relationship, yet she has not yet dropped the Mr.
My real wife calls me Mr. Spence.
Oh, interesting.
Very much like
Okay.
Danya does. Mr. Spence. Last night I talked him up to Perry and
Yeah.
told open marriage, and Perry was all up for it. So, you know, I'm good to go.
Well, she was up for it until she
Well,
realized
until
what
she-
you were
yeah.
doing.
But you know, that's a little too late now, isn't it?
It is. Now
So-
tell me about doing this show, because it is so dramatic. There are so many great fight scenes. I mean, we had the prosthetic leg incident in this last episode. Do you have any big fight scenes coming up?
I think, well, fight scenes imply that at one point or other, Mr. Spence is going to be giving. I think Mr. Spence kind of, well, last night he gets hit in the head
Hit
with
by
a frying pan.
yes.
Next week he ends up in the hospital. I think at least 3 times he's down
Yeah.
in this season. So
Yeah.
it may be kind of a recurring theme for him.
Okay, so what's the story behind this hospitalization then?
Well, you have to watch next week. I can't tell you.
You can't give anything away?
No, it's funny and kind of embarrassing.
Okay. Is a woman the reason? Can you tell
Yes,
us that?
absolutely.
I think we can maybe put 2 and 2
Yeah.
together on that
It
one.
gets well, let's say it gets so hot next week that someone ends up in the hospital.
Wow. Okay, a lot to look forward to then. And I'm curious to know, fans really have picked up on the show, especially in recent weeks. It's doing so well. And I think part of it is the mystery of who killed Flora. People can't stop talking about it. What's your take on it? Do
I
you
don't
guys
who killed
know?
Flora. I'm not even sure if the Westmore house knows. They're aware of them, but we are the one house that's kind of off to the side that
Right.
no one really. Well, also, God, I can't remember his name. Look at that. It's like I don't even know. Matt is his real name. The singer.
Yes.
They also. So there's those 2 houses, and then there's the other 2 houses that are together. I have no idea about Flora.
Really? So you
No.
guys don't even know as a cast?
I don't think we ever get involved. I think I go to Adrian's house once,
Okay.
and I end up in the hospital.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's interesting to me because
Again.
fans are so, that's a recurring theme with
Oh yeah,
your character here.
it's the drinking game. If Spence is lying on the floor on his back, counting the lights, or if he flips his hair, you have to drink.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe he should have gone to the hospital on the last episode after the frying pan incident. He
So it
may have
gets
had
worse.
permanent brain damage.
Well,
We'll just have to wait and see.
he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. Let's just say
But
that. He's very nice.
He's so
very
likable.
sweet and loving.
One, I think in contrast to his wife, who is pretty terrible
Yeah, she's brutal.
at all times.
Here's what I want to know, and I have not figured this out as an act yet. How did those 2 get together?
That's interesting.
Right? I mean, was she like such a sort of climber that before anyone knew who she was, and she was just starting out as an actress, and he was a soap opera star, and did she climb up on top of him and then just keep climbing? Is that what happened?
Literally.
That's pathetic, right?
Yeah, but you know what? I will say it's a testament to the show in that you believe their relationship.
Yeah, somehow or other you believe
Yeah.
it. Somehow or other you believe these 2 people ended up together. I don't know how. As the actor
Yeah.
playing the guy, I'm like, I don't know, I can't figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, you can see how she's maybe become more horrible with time. Success has really gone
Success
to her
has
head.
made her what she is.
Now,
She's awful.
tell me a little bit about your life here, because it sounds like you're a very busy guy. I know you got married a year ago. And I read a really sweet article in Redbook that you wrote about your marriage and kind of being best friends with your wife. So
Well,
she
we
sounds like
are.
a very lucky lady.
Thank you. I think I'm
Yeah.
a very lucky man. She's great. She's so much fun. You know, our 3rd date, I think it was, I took her to Thailand and Cambodia. It's kind of not really. That's like, we knew each other for quite a while. and-
Yeah.
and we both wanted to take a holiday, and so we went. But somewhere when we were in Phuket, one of the little street kids was trying to sell us something, and she was, and it looked it was very phallic, this thing he was trying to sell. Not intended to be, but it really, and she was just kind of giving this poor kid a hard time. And these street kids, they're pretty wise, right?
Oh, yeah.
And she was giving him a run for his money, and finally he just looks up and he goes, "You jokey girl." And he points at me and goes, "You happy boy. You jokey girl, you happy boy." And yeah, you're absolutely right.
And that kind of just sums
That's
up
it,
your relationship.
Yeah. She's always kidding around, and I'm always laughing.
Well, and you guys have your 1-year anniversary coming up next month. Any plans to celebrate?
The 18th. I'm terrified.
Really? Is the pressure on?
Yeah, it's the paper anniversary, right? So I guess that's not going to fly.
Right. That's pretty boring. I feel like all the years are pretty boring, though, if you get down to it.
Well, no. I mean, isn't 25 like...
There's like the platinum,
Yeah,
but other ones are like paper or wood or,
yeah, right.
I don't know, water. I don't know what they all are.
If I origami a $1,000 bill into like a little swan.
That could work. I actually don't think she would like that very
$100
much.
bill flowers. No, you're right.
No, got to come up with something better than that.
I think you're right.
Well, tell me about doing this show because it is so dramatic and kind of soapy in the best way possible.
Thank you.
And I know that you've talked about how you don't think Melrose Place could exist today because reality shows have kind of taken over for it, which I thought was a little bit sad. And I feel like this show actually proves that wrong a little bit.
This show's nothing like Melrose Place was.
Right, but it's like people tune in for that
the same
interpersonal
reason, for the
drama.
same stuff. Yeah, I think this show is, and Desperate Housewives was as well, the sort of next evolution of a show like Melrose Place. Melrose Place, we all knew that it was funny, but we played it dead straight all the time. We're winking with you guys. You know, we're winking at the audience in this show, and I think everyone's kind of in on the joke. Whereas Melrose Place, you know, it was just like, oh my God, I can't believe those people just did that.
Okay, what do you think about Spence and Rosie's future? Do you think there's anything there? I mean, they have everything working against them.
They do have everything working against them. And I think that they will it will get better and then get worse.
Okay.
Before it gets better. And I think it's going to be kind of a romantic thread that runs through the entire series.
Okay.
But I don't believe they'll be together the whole time.
What about Spence and Perry? Do you think they'll go their separate ways?
Yeah, I think
Hopefully
so.
for everyone
I think
involved
that they
in
will
that
have
situation.
a child keeping them together, and that's about it.
Okay, so you don't think they'll stay married,
Tucker.
right?
I don't think so.
Okay.
But, you know, one of the thing that I think is most exciting about working for Mark and watching Mark's shows is, you know, as an actor working for him, he'll paint you into a corner. And it's like, well, there's nowhere to go now. I mean, there's nothing to do. You've painted me in this corner. I can't get out of this relationship. And then suddenly he'll throw something in. It's like, oh my God, that's hysterical and makes sense and swings it and gets it going again.
Right,
you know?
gives you a place to go.
Yeah,
well,
he's
and
fun that way.
as you said, Mark Cherry and Eva Longoria are executive producers on this show. They were obviously behind Desperate Housewives. So what has that kind of added to the experience? What do they bring to the table?
Well, Mark knows what he wants. It's great working for a guy that knows what he wants. Because he'll tell you, it's like, boom, this is what he wants. And then once you know that, then I can do whatever I want around that.
Well, we can't wait to see what happens with Spence because it sounds like there's a lot more injury in his future, but also romance,
and heartache,
which we've come to look forward to.
There's laughing, there's crying.
That's why we tune in to Devious Maids, it's true.
Yeah.
And be sure to tune in. Devious Maids is on Lifetime every Sunday night at 10/9 Central.